Malcolm X said the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So are you prepared for your next big leadership move? That's the mission of the 19th Annual Women's Leadership Conference on August 31st and September 1st at the MGM Grand Conference Center. Unite with a community of women and men, all professionals committed to growing their skills, their influence, and their impact. So they're ready to step into new horizons in their careers. Because great leaders never stop thinking, learning, and evolving. They're made, not born. To attend this year's Women's Leadership Conference, visit fwle.org today.
Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey hit theaters over the weekend, sending local cinephiles into a frenzy because Brendan Theaters at the Palms is one of just 25 theaters in the country where you can see it in full 70mm IMAX. However, that will run you $54 to see it there, which got us thinking, what are the other great places around town to go to the movies here in Las Vegas? Well, get your popcorn ready because film podcaster David Rosen and filmmaker Jason Harris join us to answer that very question. It's Monday, July 20th. I'm Jesse Merrick, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. Shout out to all of our listeners out there. Before we get today's show rolling, though, I've got a favor to ask you. CityCast is doing our annual listener survey and would really help us out if you took it. This is our chance to learn more about you and what you want from us here at CityCast Las Vegas so that we can serve you and Vegas better as well. If you took it last year, please do it again because we can't use last year's data anymore. So if you're down to share your thoughts, go to citycast.fm/survey to take it. We timed it out and only takes 7 minutes to do. And for your time, you'll be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and some CityCast swag as well. So again, to take that listener survey and help us out, go to citycast.fm/survey. All right, Jason, David, how we doing today, guys? I'm so stoked to jump into this conversation with you.
We got to get it, man. We got to get through it already. There's an Odyssey movie that we have to see for the third time already.
Yeah.
I know, right? Yeah. Hopefully you guys got your tickets last year, right?
Oh, yeah. Got our night lined up. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's exactly where we have to start because it seems like Odyssey has kicked this whole frenzy into a new gear, specifically with 70mm IMAX. Now, we'll get to that in a second, but just Odyssey. Why has it gotten so many people hyped about going to see this movie, but just kind of like films in general?
So we are, thankfully, as many things as Gen Z does that drive me crazy. One thing they're doing well is kind of getting us back into the movie theaters, whether it's new movies or repertory showings. Gen Z has really kind of taken the helm of the movie theater going experience, which obviously we all love as well. As far as why the Odyssey is tracking the way it is, Christopher Nolan is the summer movie guy now, right? We went through 10 or 15 years of Marvel this, Marvel that, and I think we got Marvel fatigue for about 5 to 10 years. The thing with that is it just kind of felt slapdash, whereas Nolan is not going to release a movie unless it's exactly the vision that he wants. And, I think Tenet might have been a miss, but obviously Oppenheimer over-delivered, and this one is just on track to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's always an event when Nolan makes a movie, and like Marvel fatigue, sure, but also like most people couldn't even tell you who made most of those Marvel movies. Nolan is one of those auteurs who it really matters when his name is above the title of a movie.
Yeah, and apparently too, and I learned this in prep for this show, but this is the first movie filmed entirely on IMAX cameras. Why is that such a massive deal?
What's going on is, right, you have these different aspect ratios, different frame ratios, different abilities to see in crispness and clarity, right? And with Nolan, so you can have like a 35mm, right? And then you go to a 70mm, which you can see this movie in, and then you're getting a much bigger frame, about 3.5 times the size of a 35, right? So you're seeing stuff in wider vistas and landscapes and in much more clarity. And Nolan's been pushing for years to get it to the next level, which is to make IMAX viable option to shoot an entire movie. And he's the first guy, like you said, to ever do this. So, it's film history, it's movie event tization, so to speak. And like everyone wants something immersive and experiential now, right? So this is the closest thing you can get to that in the cinema, I'd say.
If you're going to have that extra frame to work with, you want someone who cares about what's being put into that frame. And someone like Nolan and the people he surrounds himself with are those people.
Yeah. And so you guys mentioned the wider frame. Is that the biggest difference that folks would see? Because there is IMAX and then 70 millimeter IMAX, as you noted. I just want to make sure folks know the big difference between the two of those things.
So you're going to get a big frame on IMAX, but the pure way to see this is what he shot it in, which is 70 millimeter IMAX, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see this in 70 millimeter at a few theaters, and that's going to look amazing. You can see this in IMAX, and it's going to look amazing, or you can see it for $50 at the Palms in the purest way possible, which they don't seem to be having any problem selling tickets to at this point in time. So there is a hunger to see this the way that it was intended to be seen.
Yeah, I've heard some wild stories of, people driving 3 hours. There's people in an article from Variety saying that two brothers are flying from Pittsburgh to LA to go see it. I heard somebody delaying, trying to become pregnant to go see it because they didn't want the pregnancy to interfere with the release date of the movie. I mean, like, people are hyped for it. And you noted the fact that people here in Las Vegas, locals, can go see it over at the Palms. And I don't think, people may not realize how unique that is. Like, there's only 24 theaters in the entire country where you can actually see it in true IMAX 70 millimeter. That is something, too, that I think is important, because I think we'll see a lot of theaters, right, that'll say, oh, see it on IMAX. But, like, you need to be able to delineate between those two, right?
Yeah, and it's also, it's exciting, too, because, like, Vegas is an entertainment capital, but like at the same time, we don't always have, like, we don't have the big movie premieres, and we don't have like these options usually for these kinds of screenings of classic movies or anything like that. So for us to be one of those theaters is very exciting.
I was so excited. I also didn't get anyone pregnant getting ready for this movie.
That's a wise move. You got to make sure your calendar stays open so you can catch this bad boy.
I'm not taking a baby. If you take a baby to the Odyssey and IMAX, you got issues. We got to get rid of it.
Do you have to pay $54 for the baby as well? I'm curious.
I think it's got to be more than we should have to pay at least double for that.
100%. Yeah.
Could you imagine? But obviously, too, I just want to dig in a little bit more into like how rare it is to be in a city that has this. Like, why is it so rare for these 70 millimeter IMAX screens to be around? Like, how come we don't see these everywhere?
Well, I think a big part of it is, like, first of all, the theater's either too old to be able to show it the way that they're being shot right now, or they just don't have the money to upgrade to that point and be able to do what they, need to do. Whereas in somewhere like LA, New York, you have more options for this stuff. But some place like Vegas isn't going to necessarily put the money into those kinds of experiences, especially after the last like 10, 15 years we've had with movie theaters.
I think it's going to happen, though. I mean, there was that article in the RJ that they did a good job of breaking it down, where they're saying that, you need two $16,000 humidifiers just to keep the film loose. The IMAX 70 millimeter print, each one costs $80,000 basically. So as Dave's saying, it might be small towns, it might be tough, but in big cities, I think we're going to see more and more of this, where I remember about 10 or 15 years ago, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were giving a lecture at USC, and they said in 10 or 15 years, movies are going to be $50 and they're going to be huge events, or they're going to be tiny indies and there's going to be nothing in between. And we were like, what are you old guys talking about? You guys, you had your huge moments of the blockbuster kings, but do you really know what the future is going to be? Yes, they did know what the future was going to be.
Of course.
Yeah, and why wouldn't Vegas lean into this? Maybe we can become like, a film destination for folks, and do that. I think maybe lean into it and hopefully be one of the people that carries the torch for it. Might have to hit up LVCVA. They got plenty of money. Maybe they can invest in some of these theaters. All right, so if folks aren't trying to shell out $54 to go see it in true 70 millimeter IMAX, I understand that. So let's dive into some other options around town. And you guys can include this in your list, your rankings of sorts, if you would like to. But what are your favorite places around town to go catch a movie in Las Vegas? Which theaters are at the top of your list and why?
First of all, Las Vegas is home to my favorite screen. I wouldn't say the theater is my favorite theater, but AMC Town Square, the Dolby Cinema screen, is the best screen I've ever seen in any city. It's the sound, the visual, and the seats, all of it combined into like the best movie watching experience as far as I'm concerned. Aside from that, though, I do my my live piecing it together shows at Galaxy Theaters Boulevard Mall and at Maya Cinemas. And they both have really great facilities, great screens, especially the Sony digital screen at Galaxy Boulevard Mall. And my favorite overall has to be the Suncoast, which I just think is just the most comfy theater in town.
Dave and I are, not surprisingly, in disagreement on a few things.
Yes.
Disagreement's good. I like it.
Yes. Well, I won't debate the screen at AMC. Shame on you, Town Square, AMC Town Square. You're AMC, and that's the shape you leave your theater in every day. Like
I said, it's just that, like, you walk into that room, it's screen number 1. You walk into that room, it is the greatest movie watching experience. Then you just close your eyes on the way to the car. Because
I'm not knocking the employees or anything like that, but it just feels like, other than that scream, that theater has given up completely on trying to make the experience nice for people. And that's been like that for a few years. Like they opened and just were like, we'll never renovate or do anything to make sure that we're up to standards.
The sinks
anymore.
never work. But
yeah, I mean, I do like the Galaxy theaters, especially because
character.
Yeah, sure.
a character I want no part of. So. The Galaxy ones are nicest. You know, the thing is, like, Dave, you're talking about Maya and Galaxy Boulevard. The beautiful thing about those are they're somehow, like, lost in the city. You can go during the day, and basically, I took my daughter to see, they were running E.T. on the big screen at Galaxy at the Boulevard. Dude, we were the only two in the theater. We had the whole theater to ourselves. Like, it's pretty cool that you have that, and the luxury recliners, which are everywhere, you know. Regal, obviously, is a major chain. They have their luxury ones. The other one we really have to mention is the Beverly.
Of course.
Which, for indie film nerds like us, is great. My issue with the Beverly, and I know why they did it, is those retractable chairs that they can move to the back so people can stand for concerts. I mean, dude, they spent all this money to make the coolest theater in the world, and then they have such uncomfortable seating.
That seating is key. How important is the seating? Because for me, I love to just have a recliner. I don't need a chair that like rocks around or like, you know, spins me around. I don't need to be signing a waiver that like, oh, if you get injured because we launch you out of a chair, like I don't need that type of stuff. But do you guys enjoy that? Like, does that add to the viewing like experience for you? Is that something you really look for in a movie theater?
Well, Jesse, you and I could go see Barbie together again because I'm with you. I just need a nice recliner, man. I'm there to watch the movie, right? You know, look, I love the Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios, but I'm just trying to watch the movie in the theater. Dave, on the other hand, I know is a 4DX, you know, stand for it.
You want to buckle in when you go to the movies?
Yeah, I go like twice a year. It's a gimmick, and it's not something I would do on a regular basis. But Twisters in 4DX was a blast. But yeah, no, I honestly, I'm even fine with like old school movie theater seats. Like that is fine with me. I just need a movie and a dark room. That's all I want.
Yeah. What about snacks and booze? Like, where does that rank on your hierarchy of like what's needed? Are the booze like, nah, get that out of here? Like, we need the old school popcorn, all this. Like, what goes into that part of it?
Popcorn and Diet Coke. Sorry, Regal, but I can't do the Pepsi products over there. Yeah.
You know, and Dave, I'm going to agree with you because we're going to just take the shots as we have to take them. Regal, your popcorn is not up to snuff.
Terrible.
You know?
That matters. Look, it's like the debate about fries at fast food joints. You know, like if your popcorn sucks, like, are you really even a movie theater?
Yeah.
Right. What I like about the Galaxy is, right, they have those like containers of toppings. You can put ranch or Parmesan on your popcorn. You can get like 7 different popcorn. The Cinemark chain has good, you know, the Orleans and South Point. They have solid popcorn too. But I'm with you. You need the popcorn. You need the soda or the icy. I like to do the mix on the icy, which is part Coke, part cherry. You mix that up.
Ooh,
and yeah, maybe get a little chocolate. Do the little popcorn chocolate combo there. I used to be able to eat a lot more of it, but for the Odyssey, I'm going hard. And if I throw up afterwards, that's on me.
Lovely.
I think that's great. Of the places that I've been, like I said, I don't go to the movies as often as I probably should, like actually go to, but I enjoyed Cinebar when I went and saw Barbie. It was a great experience. Again, you can get some booze. I think that's kind of cool. I'm originally from California, and I remember a place in Pasadena had something like that. So when I turned 21, I thought it was sick that like you could go to the movie and get some booze and have a drink while you were there. I also really enjoyed the now closed downtown cinemas as well. That was one of the spots that I went. And I was, again, in getting ready for this podcast, I didn't realize they had closed. That shows how long it's been since I've gone.
It's a bummer.
And I was bummed that they were out of business. Yeah.
They were my biggest partner with my live piecing it together shows, and they were an awesome theater. I love that place. And yeah, it sucks that they're closed.
I like that one too because they're shoebox theaters, right? So they kind of remind you of what it was like. Like I grew up in a a middle class town in New Jersey, and everything was like that. Those kind of shoebox theaters. It was almost like a throwback theater that you
Yeah.
just had to know about.
Yep.
Step into the movies with the Neon Museum's new movie tour in the heart of Las Vegas. Take a guided walk through real neon backdrops that have lit up some of Hollywood's most memorable scenes. It's perfect for film lovers and Vegas fans who want to see the city through a cinematic lens. You can explore glittering neon landscapes that have actually appeared on the silver screen and see how Las Vegas has been portrayed in classic films and modern blockbusters over the decades. Discover how the La Concha lobby was a key setting in Martin Scorsese's 1995 film, Casino, and stand where Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone filmed their romantic evening as Ace and Ginger. You can trace even more movie history from pre-code Hollywood all the way to contemporary blockbusters to discover how Las Vegas earned its reputation as the entertainment capital of the world through film. Hear insider stories and fun trivia that bring these movie moments to life and capture unforgettable photos surrounded by the glow of real Hollywood-used neon. Join fellow cinephiles on a one-of-a-kind tour that turns the Neon Museum into your own movie set. Get your tickets today at neonmuseum.org. Yeah, I think the throwback stuff is so key to be able to have. But again, like it brings you back to the time when it was cool. Like when I was a kid, I used to go to the movies a ton. I think it was much more common then. Then you talked about Gen Z, Jason, that they're kind of bringing folks back to the movies. Obviously, streaming is such a big thing. I am, again, guilty of that. It's not that I hate going to the movies or anything. I'm just like, I can wait. Like, I don't really suffer from FOMO that often. I'm like, I'll just watch it at home, kick back on the couch and do it. So, like, what's the big argument for getting people back to the movies instead of streaming? Like, let's lay out the case to get more folks out to the movies, myself included.
Well, first of all, it's much better for the health of the industry and for movies to actually keep getting made and be good if people actually see them in a place where they can actually make a profit. But on top of that, and we're here to talk about movies, but I run a record store, Wax Trax Records, and the kids are coming in for vinyl, CDs, and
That's
cassettes.
Cool.
I think there's a huge pushback against streaming right now, both in movies and music, and it's really beautiful to see.
I mean, I love streaming. Dave and I probably both watch basically a movie a day at this point. Him because he's been married for so long, and me because I've been single for so long. So, but and we're Dave produces my podcast, Awesome Movie Year, where we go back throughout the history of movies and look at what made each year a different awesome movie year, and we do different movies from every year. So right now we're in 1946, right? And the fact that we have access to so many things on Criterion or TCM that we can watch and dig deep into noir or Hitchcock, like that's amazing. That's stuff you had to seek out when we were younger, right? So it's great that it's there. But a quick story about why I think it's so important, and horror led the way on it, right? You see this with Backrooms and Obsession is, right? People like that communal experience of being scared together or feeling something together, right? So I'm a writer. I was talking to my managers recently, and I usually write comedy, and they're like, hey, nobody knows what to do with comedy right now. So I watched a couple of previews of like upcoming comedy movies, including Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass, and I didn't laugh once at any of the trailers. And Dave and I both saw Gail Daughtry, and that movie's great. It's hilarious. Oh, yeah. If you like Wet Hot American Summer and stuff like that, highly recommend it. But because streaming has taken over and comedy now lives on streaming, it seems like people have forgotten what it's like to laugh together and how to do those big comedy set pieces like you would have seen in the Will Ferrell movies, the Anchormans, the Step Brothers before that, the 90s stuff, whatever. So I think that's the issue is like people they want to be scared together. They want to laugh together. Plus you go out afterwards and you talk about your experience that you just had, right? Yeah. Like, this is what we loved about it. This is what we did. And that's why film festivals are so cool, because you're immersed in that for that period of time. That's all you're immersed in.
Do you think a lot of that rebelling is like because of social media? Like I think social media probably plays into a bit of like so much of our interaction now happens on social rather than face to face or side by side in these situations. Like, do you think that plays into it? And also too, like, let's be completely honest, there's a lot of movies on streaming services too sometimes when you're flipping through. So like, do you think it's like, okay, if it's in theaters, it must be better than me just being able to scroll through Netflix or whatever?
Well, and I think also, like, for better or worse, Letterbox has led to a lot of like younger people wanting to like go out and be completists and like watch all these movies so they can log them, whether or not they're really interacting with them the way they should be, like what Jason was just talking about.
Yeah.
They're at least watching stuff and they're at least digging back into film history, and so I think it's had a positive effect. Letterbox, anyway. Social media's had a bad effect on everything, though.
Yeah.
I love Letterboxd. I'm on it as go for Jason if anyone wants to ever trade Rex there or whatnot. But
I'm an uncultured swine. I don't know what that is. Is that like a Discord or essentially, or what is that?
no, we're gonna get you on Letterboxd.
Yes.
And Dave was the one who taught me about it back in the day. I got to give him and my co-host Josh Bell on Awesome Movie Year credit. It's basically a social media platform where you can log every movie that you've seen, you rate it, you review it, and then you interact with other users. So I can see what he's watching. Jesse, if you're like, oh, I think Dave gave 3 good recommendations, you can go see other things that he's watched and, kind of jump on it from there. Yeah, it's a good platform. I don't think that streaming's bad. I think that there's excuses that come with streaming. Oh, it's just for streaming, so we're not going to put as much money into the production design or the special effects, right? So, which again, I could argue that Marvel's been doing the same thing for the last 10 years also. They've been cutting corners with that. I just think that I know what you're saying. There's like a prestige to the theatricality of it, but you also have to give streaming its credit as a fan of indie film, right? There's things that we're never going to get, especially in Vegas. We're not in New York or LA, so our only option is to use streaming platforms.
No, yeah, I agree, and that gives access and a platform to a lot of folks in the indie space for sure. So definitely got to give streaming its flowers for that. I think is really interesting. I am curious though, guys, like for both of you guys have both dropped your podcast a bit here. For the folks that are interested, because obviously like you guys know what you're talking about in the movie scene. For the folks that want to dig into a little bit more, learn more about your guys' podcast and stuff, where can they find it? Tell them what they got to know about accessing your guys' stuff.
My podcast, Piecing It Together, takes a look at a movie through the lens of what other movies might have inspired it. And for the last 5 years or so, I've been doing live shows at movie theaters here in Las Vegas. And tonight, at the time we're recording this, we are doing the Odyssey, and Jason is actually going to be on my panel. But you can find Piecing It Together on all the podcast apps and at Piecing Pod on all the socials to find out where our next live show will be. If you're in Las Vegas, hopefully you'll come join us and be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, I'm on Dave's podcast. I try to do as many live panels as he'll allow me to do. But I'm also on once a month for the trailer episodes where we look at what's coming up and we kind of break down what we think the influences are. Dave produces my podcast, Awesome Movie Year, which is myself and the film critic Josh Bell. Each season, we take a different year, break down why it was an awesome movie year, and each episode's a movie from that year. So we always do biggest hit, biggest flop, cult classic, personal picks. By the end of the season, you get like this crazy swath of what the year was really about. The way I describe it to people is it was just an excuse to send myself back to film school for free.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, you can definitely tell in a good way, like movie nerds in a great way. You guys, I'm sure, have introduced some people to some new things in this podcast, and hopefully they check your guys' out as well. I personally have my work cut out for me as well. I got to listen to the pods and get more caught up on all the trends and everything that's going on, whether it's back in the 40s or now. So I'm going to jump on there and start listening to the show as well and expand my horizons into, honestly, need to get out to the movie theater a bit more. Like I said, I can't have Barbie be the last one, even though it was a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I can't have that be the last movie that I actually went and saw.
Well, let's give you a recommendation. Name 3 of your favorite movies, Jesse.
Oh, man. Oh, so when I was a kid, my favorite movie was actually Gladiator. I loved it. I watched that, I can't tell you how many times I did. This is the worst question to ask me, though, because I'm not currently this is my favorite movie guy. But I did recently just see Project Hail Mary, and I thought it was awesome. I really enjoyed it. And then my girlfriend and I actually just watched Voicemails for Isabel, which surprisingly was pretty damn good.
So, I'm glad you brought up Project Hail Mary, because I missed that in the theater, and I just watched it with my daughter, at home. And that, when we're watching it, which I agree with you, that was great. That's in my top 5 so far this year. But I'm thinking to myself, man, how did I miss this in the theater? How amazing would this look on the big screen with those colors and that kind of production design, right? So that's a great reason to get back into the theater, to just kind of, let yourself be washed over with everything. Voicemails for Isabel, don't really care for it myself, but I would recommend going back with your lady and watching the Before trilogy. Have you ever seen that? The Linkletter trilogy? No. Yeah, those are great rom-coms. Very very kind of two-handers. It's just Julie Delpy and Ethan Hawke, and every 10 or so years they made another one to see where these relationships are. So that's my rec for you today.
Really good stuff. And also, speaking of voicemails for Isabel, Jason, you brought it up earlier, but Gail Daughtry in the Celebrity Sex Hall Pass, whatever that movie's called, from David Wayne, stars Zoe Deutsch, the same actress, is in that.
And she's great in it.
Yeah, and she's great in it. So there you go.
Okay, sweet. So I got my work cut out for him. I'm excited. Hopefully the listeners haven't seen all of them and they're like, damn, Jesse sucks. He hasn't seen these awesome movies. Hopefully they can go back and look at them as well. Guys, this was a ton of fun. I can't wait to have more movie chats with you guys as it pertains to all the stuff going on here in Las Vegas. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jesse. And thanks, Dave, for buying the snacks tonight.
You got it.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our free morning newsletter as well. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Las Vegas. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Until then, though, take care.